Welcome, Kim. Welcome to our spotlight. Thank you so much for participating on our digital spotlights. And thank you for taking time. I know it's a busy timetable right now for everybody, and I really appreciate that you've taken the time to do this with us.
Thanks, Maria, for having me and, going through with this, even though we're all at home. So it's a pleasure.
And I love that you started with that, because we talk to young people all the time about the future of careers and how technology is going to evolve a career. And I feel like COVID-19 has really brought the future to now. And we're all living in that. How are we using technology to maintain the services that we provided before? And how is technology making us become more creative, and how we're going to continue in our career paths and continue providing either the product or the service. So Kim, can you talk to us a little bit about what you do and the type of job role that you have currently?
Sure. So I'm a mix of a life coach where, there's conversation, there's accountability planning, there's a little bit of, digging deeper into why we do what we do in terms of behavioral patterns and changing that. And then there's the other aspect where I use holistic healing, where there's energy work, there is chakra balancing, there's a lot of meditation to get to that. So, and at the same time, when you're trying to do something on your own and you're practicing and you want to spread that with, instead of 1 but 1,000, then there's the blog space, there's your videos, there's LinkedIn that's trying to get that message out altogether to more people based on, certain successes, certain things that are a definite hit on how it works for everybody, right? So my day usually consists of all of these things together. So it would start with probably having a one-on-one coaching with someone, or my mornings usually start after my kid goes off to school with a meditation for myself. And at the end of it, I kind of center all my clients, the children, or the kids that I'm working with, adults, corporates, center them all so that everyone is balanced to go through their day. Amazing. Then the other aspect of the day would go through with, planning out certain workshops, conducting workshops, having my one-on-one clients. And the remaining part is generally planning out what next, what's coming up as a trend, what's coming up as a specific behavior. And if I could share that message with others out, that, okay, for an A issue, we have B, C, and D that we can do, and it immediately gets fixed. And that is possible, actually.
Amazing, amazing. So let's take you back years to your academic journey when you were a young teenager and studying. What subjects were you most interested in back, if you go back in that time?
Funnily so, Maria, when I was in school, I used to love math. And for the longest time before I started walking on this journey, I was in finance and, analytics. And I thought that was my that was my thing. That was my passion. And there was the other aspect of it. When I went to college and I started studying psychology, it completely kind of, I got sucked into that topic. I just loved it. I still remember the head of department of our psychology department, she told me back then that, Kim, you should get into counseling. And I said, no, ma'am, because I kind of used to internalize back then. And I said, I can't do this because it's too heavy for me, the kind of things you learn. And just this a couple of months ago, I think 3 months back, when I went back to India, I did try to connect with her and tell her that, you are correct. While I'm not a counselor from the psychology, the way it's done in that study, being a life coach and being a holistic healer, it kind of draws from the same group of work, the same group of practices.
Amazing.
So it was somewhere there all the while.
So going back, being a student who really enjoyed maths to then studying psychology, what would you say are the transferable subjects or the transferable skills that you would recommend for young people wanting to pursue a career like yours?
In terms of subjects, yes, psychology is one of it. There is a lot to do with science, because when you start understanding how the brain functions, when you start understanding science in terms of, anatomy, when you understand science in terms of yoga, it takes you back to recognizing your existence, not merely just from body, but from body, mind, and then eventually to the existence of a soul, and how all these three integrate to actually make us who we really are.
Hmm. Amazing, amazing. So, do you work for an organization, or are you a freelancer?
I'm on my own at this moment. So I
Okay.
have a lot of tie-ups with corporates and a couple of schools and a lot of one-on-ones. So the intent is that um, our entire ecosystem is it's kind of a vicious cycle. If someone's going into work and they're upset, they have a bad day, because we have been conditioned to hide our emotions and keep it within. We come home and kind of displace it onto someone at home, and that person at home could be a student, could be a teacher. They go back the next day into that ecosystem, and then they displace their anger out there. So for me, it's very important that I want to touch every leader, a leader in the corporate world, a leader in a school, a leader in a community, because when each of these people are functioning from a place of awareness in their emotions, awareness in their actions, we kind of break that chain of displaced, anger, displaced expectations, and everyone starts walking with a lot of more awakened consciousness.
Amazing. So, aside from being a life coach, you're also running your own business.
Yep.
So, in wearing those two hats, how do you multitask? How do you know when to be the owner of a business and do all those things that you need to do as running a business, and how do you know when to be the life coach? Or do the two worlds kind of coexist?
For a very long time, Maria, I tried to keep them separate, but when you're keeping them separate, you're kind of trying to bring out a different personality to run both of them, and it is quite a struggle, because in the life coaching, in the healing aspect, we're going with the flow. We're trying to understand what flow is, and in the business world, there is a there is a high tendency of wanting to control everything. I want to control my results. I want to control what I bring in. I want to control what people see, how they perceive things. But it's in the recent few months, or probably the last 6 months, I've started trying to integrate that.
Hmm.
So use the business sense and analytics, but not try to completely um, control it, because that itself creates some kind of an imbalance.
Amazing. So, for a student considering potentially a career like yours in either owning their own business in the industry of wellness, because wellness right now, we can see it right now in the situation that we're all experiencing around the world. Wellness and mental health are really, really important in maintaining momentum with this great change that we're seeing for families around the world. So, if there were a student out there right now thinking about their future career and getting inspired by this talk, what are the top 3 tips that you can offer them to prepare them for a career like yours?
I think the main aspect is, does this bring them, a sense of fulfillment? Does it bring them joy? Because it's a very highly, like any other career, it's a very highly demanding role, but it's highly demanding of an energy, of a personality. There are certain roles where the demand is on your physical ability to travel, to run around, to make a presentation, to do sales. But in something like this, your the demand is also from your emotional resilience. So my first tip would be, understand whether this is really who you are. Understand whether you really love doing this. You really love serving someone. And that's when you go into it completely and begin your own journey into understanding who you are. Because when you understand that, it's very easy to create a brand for yourself and to create something that is undisputedly serving others, as well as you being able to create a wealth out of it, because it is something that all of us require to do. The second tip that I would suggest, Maria, is to really go into, a lot of self-study or a lot of courses, a lot of study, because while this is a picking up, career option, there's so many new things coming into the surface. So spend a lot of time studying more, spend a lot of time learning more, reading more, experiencing more, because there's one thing that happens in learning and reading, and the other one that happens actually in experiencing. And in this kind of a role, if you've experienced it, that's when you get better at it. It's just like a doctor. If you've done 10 operations and 10 surgeries, you become a better surgeon. And likewise in this kind of job where you're a life coach or you're a healer. And the last one is, take it as it comes. Because things are improving. Like today, nobody thought that we would all have to go online and start offering things, change your entire business program and say, okay, if I was speaking to people, now I'm going to have to come online and still create that connect. So the third aspect I would always say is keep an open mind. Cool. Whatever comes your way, jump in and say, okay, what can I do and what can I add here that's going to benefit me and the other people?
Amazing, amazing. So, Kim, going back to your role as CEO, what types of roles would you say would exist as your company starts to expand?
Oh, well, there would definitely be somebody handling digital. There would be someone taking care of marketing. There would be someone taking care of emails and answering personal emails, getting people to come and share their stories. So there would be a lot of back-end support, as well as I'm hoping to have people in the travel industry, so we could actually cover stories and success stories from across the world.
Amazing. So many potential opportunities for young people considering a career path such as yours. And
absolutely,
I always ask spotlight speakers, where do you go from here? Because we're all on a career journey, and our careers change as life changes and as we evolve. So how do you move forward? Where do you see Kim going in the next few years in her career path?
Wow, that's going straight into my vision board. So I would actually want to have a company where I could have all those roles open for people in digital, people in marketing, to have a place where, Maria, if I could go a little deeper into this, there are 4 aspects to our being. One is our physical, one is our emotional, mental, and energetic. But most of us are concentrating on one of the 4 aspects, more than often just on the physical. So for example, if I wanted to impact, someone's thinking, a lot of that comes through from what they watch, what they listen to, and what are they exposed to. Today, majority of what we are exposed to in terms of what we're watching, be it Netflix or be it movie, is a lot of trauma, is a lot of action sequences, is a lot of things that are not a lot of it is telling you that, when you are in a situation like this, you have these other options to go ahead and go ahead and fight it out in the most appropriate way. So at some point in time, I would want to have those platforms, be it in terms of music that was actually affirmative, be it in terms of short films that were showing people that if one person could go ahead all the odds and be balanced and aligned and achieve what they wanted to, then even you can do it. We do have some stories out there, and there are these massive celebrities that have become role models for so many of us. But I want to take that and make it, multiply it into the number of stories of people like you and me that people may have not known. You don't have to be a celebrity to have overcome an obstacle and reach your dream, but you can be me and you can be you and our friends to be able to keep that in mind and say that, if I did 1, 2, 3 things and I just stuck to it and I was very clear of what I wanted and I chased it, I'm going to achieve my success. Amazing. So at some point in time, I would see, me not just telling people that these are the things that impact our mind and our perception, but actually contributing to being that input, to being that outside stimuli that is actually making the rule books within our system.
Amazing, amazing. I love that you're talking about your future aspirations and how you're thinking about making them become a reality, because at Desk Careers, what we try to remind young people is that our careers are not static, they're dynamic and they're ever growing and ever changing. And we don't just plan for one career for the rest of our life. It's where do we want to start? And the world is really our oyster, how we're going to evolve. So, in hearing you say
Exactly.
that, you're putting into practice what we are always encouraging our young people to remember, is that we never stop learning and we never stop growing. It's really, where do we want to start and how do we want to evolve. So thank you so much, Kim. Now, for anybody listening to this or watching this, but whether it be a parent, somebody from the community, or of course our students, how can we find Kim, and where can we learn more about the services that you provide?
Well, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on my Facebook and Instagram. The name is all the same, Kim Shelar. That's KIMSHELAR. You will find me on YouTube. I've just entered that space. So I'm putting up certain videos there and meditations. So if I could even offer another thing.
Well, thank you again, Kim. I look forward to seeing you very soon for some more work with Desk Careers.
Sure. Have fun, everybody. Thanks a ton, Maria.